Ah, in the time before conquest had names and before the empire learned to lie in ink, there stood the Orvahnin, not kings, not priests, but guardians, guardians of a world long turned to ash. They came from the western passes, a nomadic warrior tribe, rootless, resilient, and fierce. After many thousands of years, they settled in the highlands of Arakshara. It was there, under the tutelage of a single sage, that the name Orvahnin was born, and with it a lineage. The 12 rose among them, not founders but champions, Tashar, Vasilin, Sir Shal, and Arvan, warriors so revered they would be remembered as the worm spirits. They were the finest, the best we ever had. The Ash-sworn, those chosen warriors of flame and steel, did not yet exist. No, not yet. It was only as they began their long descent to the south, exiled by treachery, hunted by hate, that they were gifted Kal Sharath, a fearsome martial art by a penitent sage who had once drowned entire legions in blood. As his atonement, he gave the Orvahnin what none could match, a way to kill like no other. But before all that there was pain. The Ash-sworn earned their name through suffering. A grudge, bitter and personal, lit a pyre of innocents, men, women and children of the Orvahnin thrown into flame by those who could not match them in war. And so it was that Mayuron of the Kodranic Empire summoned them south, not just to fight, but to survive. Luminaris, once their kin in spirit and counsel, made a quiet deal with the grudge-bearers send the Orvahnin further south, into lands unclaimed, unforgiving. A punishment cloaked as pilgrimage. So it was that the Orvahnin were led into Malhara, a coastal land newly risen from the sea's grasp after the ice melted away. Rains tore the skies, serpents coiled in roots, insects carried death. The Orvahnin did not flinch. They carved out life from what was meant to kill them. And there they built Solkara. Anaval, their capital, bore the name of Anavan, the warrior sire whose flame-bound blade had once cleaved silence into story. It was a kingdom of memory, of fire, of lineage carved not from thrones but from scars. But you see, the real power, it never sat in Orvahnin hands. The Luminaris came after bringing the rest of the tribe, but too much time had passed. Too many beliefs had mingled, too many customs adopted. The nomads had changed. And Luminaris, well, they decided the Orvahnin had changed too much. Lost their purity, they said. And so the title was stripped. The Starborn, those rights to divine recognition, were revoked. But Orvahnin's strength, that they still needed. So they kept the warriors close, close enough to use, never close enough to honor. Then came the corruption. Luminaris became the Aureli, and with soft hands and silver tongues they wrapped chains around the Orvahnin. Not of iron, no, of promises, of marriage pacts and ritual bonds. They used bloodlines to bind, they used myth to erase. The old tales of the Orvahnin became Aureli scripture, their truths twisted into holy verses. And still the Orvahnin endured. When the Pale Empire swept across the map like a rot, it was Solkara that held, Orvahnin blades that clashed until the end. But their strength had always made them feared, and so the Pale did not fight them head-on. No, they outlawed Kal Sharath, called it savage, unclean. They spread tales of shame, of one woman's act, maybe true, maybe not, but enough to stain a house built over millennia. They told the world the Orvahnin were broken, backward, dangerous. And inside that proud house, cracks, designations, roles, divisions, everyone grasped for a crown in the crumbling ruins. Everyone forgot they were family. And that is how we fell. Until Theron, not a warlord, not a saint, Just Theron of the last flame. He did not rebuild the house, no, he stripped it bare, tore down every banner and name and title until only one thing remained: remembrance. Anaval still stands, its walls don't speak, but they remember. Solkara, it remembers what it was told, but the Orvahnin remember what it lived. This tale? It isn't in books, it's in scars, in fire that won't quite die. A legacy of millennia, unravelled in the space of breath. We were not gods, not myths, just kin. We bled, we burned, we waited, we were rulers by birth, betrayed into shadow, but we endured. And somewhere, even now, the ash-sworn still walk, the starborn will rise, and the names, yes, the names, they will return. Hope Creations.